Welcome back to Inside the Music with Andy Schwartman. Here's your host, Andy Schwartman. Take it away, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Senior Reek. Welcome back, everybody, to part 3 of Andy Schwartman's Inside the Music with Andy Schwartman. Today we have my friend, Matt SCHLASINGER of Patsy. So,
E for effort, buddy. That was a valiant try right there.
thank you. Anyway, thank you so much for being on this episode, Matt. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
I'm happy to be here. This is really fun.
So the third thing that I want to ask you about is see if I can. Well, I didn't know if I should
There he
have
is.
the light on or not. One of those things. But anyway, with the
We should have covered that in the production meeting earlier.
on
My
both
fault.
of our parts. Anyway, with the COVID-19 pandemic affecting the worldwide music industry from top to bottom, how has this affected your approach to releasing and promoting a new record?
Well, I think in the past I've tried to do a very traditional approach of you put an album out and you play shows about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with that not being an option, it's been different. It's been fun. It's been fun to try to be creative and do other things and stuff like that. I think the second Patsy album didn't have any music videos, which, I mean, it was 2018 at the time. I mean, I don't know that music videos are very relevant anymore anyway. They're fun, but so I did a couple for that, and I just took a very simple approach to them. Like the Decisions music video was just kind of a one take, one shot kind of thing. I went out to the garage, and the idea was this record having the black border around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I took a piece of plywood and just cut a square out, and I painted it black.
Oh,
And I hung it
nice.
up in the basement, and I set a camera on one side, and I stood on the other side to kind of imitate like a live album cover.
Nice.
Black
Okay.
and white effect on it. I hung a white bed sheet behind me, and
Okay.
I just put it out, just put the music over it. I think I was done in a half hour by the time the paint was
Whoa,
still wet
okay.
on the piece of wood when I was recording it. So I tried to just and that the same way with the album. There's some, I don't know if they translate, but there's some parts that I personally may not have been going for, but it came out like, oh, that's, I don't want to say close enough, but it worked, and it sounds good, and I'll stick with that. I wanted to keep
Right.
a very simple approach to the whole thing, because doing everything beginning to end, from the setup, miking, recording it, mixing it, mastering it, playing and performing the songs, and then of course all the artwork and everything like that. It was a true solo album. 100% of it was
Nice.
and which was very fun to be, again, that control was neat and new.
Yeah.
And the no shows is definitely a bummer. I love playing and stuff like that, but the upside of it was like some of these live stream shows I've done on social media and stuff, Facebook and Instagram Live and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That has been awesome. At shows, it's different. You're on a stage, and there's people out there, but the lights are in your face and you can't see them, and there's so much noise going on that you can't hear them talking or anything like that, which is cool on its own and everything. But the live streams have been really neat because you get to see the comments and stuff like that, and you get to interact with the people. Which I've had acoustic performances like that too, where you kind of get to talk to some people in between songs and everything like that. But it's been really neat having that much conversation during a performance and stuff like that. And
Okay, that's
you know,
cool.
those things. I'm sure Rick can would agree. Doing live streams, it's
Yeah.
equally interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cool. In a lot of ways, it's similar to playing a small, intimate gig because it's really just you. And in a lot of ways, it's different too because I've done a couple of them. Like I have a friend in Spain who was able to watch me playing. So any gig is an opportunity to just enjoy sharing your music in a live performance setting. But you're pretty much wherever you're playing for the locals. And with a live stream, like you can have somebody in Colorado and somebody in Spain, and like
Yeah.
to your point, Matt, they could be commenting live like, "Hey, do you still play that Dylan song?" Like, "Oh, sure." So you can even take requests just like you would in a coffee shop.
Sure. Which is very interesting. The only other big thing I did different was I offered, and I really regret not doing it with the first two Patsy albums. But with between those shows and the pandemic,
Hmm.
I offered to mail records and stuff, and the response on that has been really great.
That's awesome.
So if I could, just anybody watching who would like a copy, but again doesn't, not in the area,
Right.
doesn't feel comfortable, going out yet. It is available at Everybody's Records and Shake It Records, but right.
Yes.
Of course, reach out. Again, it's you can find me on Instagram at Matt Schlasinger, MattSchlasinger. Send a message to the Instagram page. Same on Facebook. You can find me there too. And I check those all the time. And I'd be more than happy to, I accept PayPal and Venmo. The record's 15, the CD's 5, shipping's 3, and I'll send it right to you. You don't even got to leave the house.
Nice. Well, that's it for the questions. Do you want just jibber jabber
Well,
during our time that we have left, or?
yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks again for having me.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Anytime, man.
You are
Anytime.
one of the most knowledgeable people I know as far
Yes.
as music. It is
Yes.
unreal. Working with this guy was incredible. Some of the shit, there'd be something playing and Andy comes around the corner. Did you know? I was like, no, Andy.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
There is a
Trivia
there is
King, Andy Schwartman, Trivia King,
He is.
top
There is
dog, number one,
there is a
cannot be stumped.
man. Anyway, there is a band called Trigger Hippie that's out of Nashville. Have you heard of them, Matt?
I have not.
Okay. Well, do you know who their drummer is?
Who's that?
You're not going to believe this. Steve Gorman from the Black Crowes.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
he's their drummer.
How
and
neat.
There is they released their second album, like, I'm not sure how long ago. And there is a cut on there, and you know what I mean by that, right? There's a song on there called Don't Want to Let You Down or whatever. And there is a shot in the video where the camera pans around to Steve and he's like making all these faces and stuff, and I thought, that is so classic Steve Gorman. That's like straight off of Shake Your Moneymaker,
Right.
the frown on his face on that record, that is so resonant, I guess, of that record. It's it's silly.
Andy, do they have the same singer? Do they have a different singer on their second album?
Yes, her name is Amber Woodhouse.
But it was Joan Osborne was the vocalist for the first album, right?
Yes. And he released an awesome book, Matt, called Hard to Handle, The Life and Death of the Black Crowes. And Senior Reek and I can tell you right up front, it rules.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm telling you what,
It's really
you
good.
want to know how long it took me to get through that, Matt?
How long?
Okay, you're going to think I'm nuts. I started it last year, right after Christmas, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then I finished it on Memorial Day.
Oh, wow.
Well, I figured, with the pandemic and everything, I figured, you know what? I have all this extra free time on my hands, so what the heck,
Yeah.
So,
Andy, I got the feeling you were just savoring that book. You didn't want it to end.
amen to that.
It's really good. That's really
Yes.
good. I mean, the guy's a drummer that like dropped out of college and joined the Black Crowes, and they just exploded out of the gate. You
Yeah.
know, he's nobody's Shakespeare, but you wouldn't expect that book to be as good as it is, and it's incredible.
No,
Nice.
but I'm telling you, and I don't know if I've told you, Rick, but the part about Chris and Rich's dad passing on,
Yeah,
when it came to that, I'm not ashamed to say this. I almost cried.
yeah. There's some emotional stuff in that book. The highs are pretty high and the lows are pretty low. It's
It was one of those
a
great.
roller coaster.
It was one of those. Oh crap! Thanks a lot, dude. It's one of those things.
We're running out of time now, so if there's anything else you want to get in here before the Zoom app cuts us off, we've only got about a minute left. Matt, I want to thank you again for being on the show, and
Of course.
Andy, why don't you just get in your last licks here and wrap it up?
Okay, well, everybody, thank you for watching this episode of Inside the Music with Andy Schwartman. Matt, thank you so much, brother.
Of course, no problem. And again, if I could plug
Absolutely.
the record here, it is
Absolutely.
Nothing Important Happened. It is available on CD and vinyl. Also, mattschlesinger.bandcamp.com for a digital download.
Okay.
The vinyl here, if I can show you,
Nice.
is
Nice. That's awesome, dude.
transparent blue, and for a limited time, it comes with a acoustic version of the entire album,
Okay.
which
Okay.
is the way it was written. So
Is that like, excuse me for interrupting, Rick, but is that like is that acoustic or what?
yeah, 100% acoustic. There is a couple interesting things about it. There's one song I wrote on a ukulele. So of course the ukulele version's on here. There's one song I wrote on the keyboard that was with an organ. I played that on a mandolin on here. So just to kind of add variety and stuff like that. So
Nice.
thank you so much for having me. I really do.
You are so welcome, brother. You are so welcome, man.
We appreciate you very much, Matt. Thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Anytime. You
Good
guys
job,
be good.
Andy.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Rick.
Good job, both of you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Talk
Later
to you
on.
soon, guys.
Thanks again.
You're welcome. Talk to you later, Matt.
Later on, Andy.
Later, dude. Tell your uncle I said hey.
Will do.
Thanks, dude.